Hi, everyone. Today, I start this AI tool sneak peek session rather differently. I'll start by executing a prompt that I have put together, and I'll come back to this prompt. What I've done is I've already copied the prompt onto ChatGPT and selected a new model called as ChatGPT O3. Let me run this prompt and we'll go back to the topic of today while this prompt is doing its job. Today's focus is going to be on why OpenAI's O3 models are a step change in AI evolution. I'll take a step back and talk to you about a book that had a great impact on me. The book name is Thinking Fast and Slow by renowned economist, psychologist, and also Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman. A lot of great insights in this book, but one peculiar thing that I picked up and have applied in the various aspects of my life, including work life, is the segregation of what Daniel called as system one thinking and system two thinking. According to Daniel, system one thinking is something which is fast, which is quick, which is quite intuitive. For example, you see someone and you recognize their face. That is system one thinking at play. Whereas system two thinking is rather slow, it is deliberate, it is quite thoughtful in nature, and it is also quite difficult to do. Daniel, in his this landmark book, kind of came to a conclusion that a lot of thinking that we do on a day-to-day basis more subscribe to system one thinking. And this whole messages in this book is quite important even for today's era. For example, the whole aspect of thinking slow, I believe, is coming out of fashion with just the hustle bustle of our lives. But that's not the point. That's not the point. I started my session with this with this reference to this book. In fact, what I'd like to do is to give you an association of the lesson in this book with what we are seeing, the way the models of today are evolving. AI models of today are evolving. For example, if you look at the first bar here, the regular LLMs, you put in a question to the regular LLMs and by means of a prompt, and it gives you an answer almost immediately. That is more akin to system one thinking at play. Quick, fast, intuitive. You just simply get an answer quickly. Over a period of time, especially in 2024, we saw a new or the evolution of a new AI model coming into picture. And these AI models were came to be known as O4 or O1 models, right? O1 models. So, don't blame me for the naming of these models. So ChatGPT has OpenAI has admitted quite a few times in public that the naming of these models is all over the place and they'll fix it over a period of time. But O1 models, O1 reasoning models, typically are the ones where the model actually thinks on the fly before giving a response. And what I mean by thinks on the fly, there are separate reasoning tokens which are allocated after the prompt is given. And what are these reasoning tokens used for? These reasoning tokens are used to break the problem and apply reasoning as human might before coming up with a solution to the problem or before responding to a prompt. And these models, as you can see in this visual representation, thinks at a runtime. And this is an example of system two thinking at play. But something changed a couple of weeks back when OpenAI came up with O3 series of models, O3 and O4 mini series of models. So what really changed? And as this uh, this third section of this slide suggests, these models not only after the prompt is given, not only does the reasoning uh, of in at the runtime, or which is more technically known as at the inference time, but these models also have the capability, number one, to visually reason. It can analyze visually, even generate visual images. As an input, I can give a model an image, and it will include that as a part of the reasoning process. So that was one enhancement over the O1 series of models. And second, and which is more important, is that models has this ability to decide on the fly if it has to use any tools or not. It can make external calls and also use the tools which are more inherent tools available within ChatGPT, the tools like search, the tools like web access, the tools like coding, the tools like image analysis, and tools like accessing your own memory, and a lot more. I think there is a list of 8 or 9 tools which are natively supported within the ChatGPT models. So why is this a step change? This is a step change because this kind of introduces an agentic behavior within within the model itself. We are not like spinning out the agents outside of these models, but as a part of response generation process, there is a agency which is built in. How is the agency built in these models? Because models now have these capability to decide when to call, when to call a tool, and it calls a tools, making independent decisions and gets the job done. Take it, for example, you are booking an itinerary, and in a physical world, if you're booking an itinerary, you'll go to your favorite travel site like makemytrip.com or any other site, and you'll start to search for the information. And after the information comes and you see the different price points, you may want to, one example of tool usage in real life thinking, that you may want to go and grab a calculator to see where what the cost of the travel is, or you may want to grab a book, the travel book where you saw that place and see which places are there. That is another example of tools usage, and that you use intuitively when you are working to solve a problem. And the great thing about O3 series of models is that they decide on the fly which tool to use and when. And we will see that with the help of an example, which is here. Okay. This example, which is there, first to give the credit where it belongs, I have taken it from Peter Gostev's experiment, and he came up with a similar prompt, which I have just slightly modified for my context, uh, to test the ability of O3 series of models. So I'll go to the prompt that I started with. This is the exact prompt that I copied over there. If you see, I asked it to uh, dig out TCS's financial report. I wanted key revenue figures. And then I also wanted trend analysis. Then I also give it a task of going beyond the basic ideas and come up with the insightful narrative about TCS, and generate a set of beautiful infographic style images, etc. I think there are a lot of, I wanted not only images, insights, but also nice looking charts and all those into the nice looking PowerPoint presentation. And it should also give me an ability for generating a PowerPoint and then a PDF in the landscape version. So this is a very specific amount of detail, and there is a lot of detail that I'm asking it to do. And if a human has to do this job, in my estimate, I think all this will take multiple days effort, worth of effort to complete it with the ample quality which is there, or with multiple people, it can be done in a lesser period of time. So let's look at the prompt that I started off this session with. I had executed this prompt after selecting the model O3. And what it did was it thought for 2 minutes and 4 seconds. And let's look at the output. It came up with an executive summary, and it also came up with an executive summary in image. And it gave most of the insights in infographic style images, as you can see here, which is wonderful. And I got some data over uh, over a table. which is great. And I'd like to look at one detail that I asked that generate all images in TCS as brand colors, which it has tried to do. And then it also gave me a PPT and PDF to download. Let me download these two, and it gave allow. Okay, I'll just open this while the PDF will also get downloaded and opened by itself. Okay, now I have the PDF here. As you can see, uh, slightly distorted version, but of the work which is there. Okay, this could have been better, but nonetheless, the data is now available. So I'll go and probably try and open the PDF PPT as well, and where I'll have more options to edit the output, which I didn't have here. Um, I'll just open it. Okay. And this is probably the similar replica of the PDF that we saw, which is already ready. And this is, slightly off, but nonetheless, something that can be edited. So these models are not perfect yet. I'll also mention in a bit on one of the biggest disadvantages of this model. But before we get there, I'd like to share with you I love these single point infographics which are there. So I'd like to show how it did its job. So you can see the thought trail of what it did. It kind of broke down. It said like I need to consider how each tool is used properly for data retrieval. I'll use web.run. It is deciding what kind of tool it has to use. I need to grab TCS's revenue data. Okay, so it decided at the outset all the tools which are there, image gen tool, PowerPoint can be by Python user visible and saved as PDF. And don't forget the down. It is reminding itself to not forget the download links, etc. I'm using Python approach to generate. So it churned out the numbers and then broke down the task, and it searched the web a couple of times to get the data, and it did the analysis where it is actually running the code to do mathematical analysis that we had asked it to do, and it continues to do that a couple of times. And then after the data is generated, it is it's solved. And then there's another example of agentic property which I want to show, which is listed here, that I am running into challenge with image embedding. So it is ran into problems, and then it also figured out what I wanted, uh, and then tried to think through how it can solve it for me. Okay, and then it broke it down, and all this, as you can see, the thinking trail which is here, all this happened within a matter of 2 minutes and 4 seconds, and it kind of generated an image, and one which is a phenomenal work done by a model in as less time as possible. One disadvantage right now with the O3 models. So O3 models are trained with the reinforcement learning, where they are taught in the reinforcement learning and how to call different types of tool and in what kind of situation, which is great. Um, Couple of things. Number one, these tools are trained by virtue of the training. They are not trained to run for a longer period of time and longish tasks. For example, deep research product goes on till about half an hour if you give it a task of coming up with a report. But O3 models is it works in the range of couple of minutes, 2 3 minutes max. Second big disadvantage right now is these models hallucinate, which means that they may make up stuff. According to an independent study which was done, it has hallucination in excess of 30 plus percentages, which means that out of 30% of time it may be inaccurate. And these models, till the time they get better, O3 models, it is important to verify the details that you might have for yourself, that you are asking it to do as a part of the plan. So Coming up to one last point, as the models are getting more agentic, Greg Brockman, who is the president of OpenAI, he said that at the launch of O3 model that we are now moving from AI models to AI systems. And when you move from AI systems, you're really talking about agentic capabilities built inside the model, as we saw in this example. And when that happens, and this is still early days, the way we write prompts are going to be more nuanced. Like we just say goal, we provide our context, and we provide the success criteria that the model has to meet. And model figures out on its own and does all the cognitive work needed to achieve the stated goal. Phenomenal progress. I'm quite excited with this release. I've already experimented with lot of examples in here. It is really a step change and of things, and we are kind of the AI game has elevated to systems, AI systems now. So I hope you followed and liked what was shared in this video. Please do share your comments. And we'll be back next week. Till then, take good care of yourself, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.